All right. Hello, everybody. Tonight, we're looking at subqueries. Okay. There are two types of subqueries. So you have correlated subquery and non-correlated subquery. So by definition, when you are looking at subquery, you have what is called outer query and you have what is called inner query. Okay. So these are the two things you need to understand. There is outer query, there is inner query. Now, where does correlated and non-correlated comes in? Well, correlated means the outer query is dependent on the inner query. So both are either the two queries are running or none is running. Okay, so that is correlated. One has to pass data to the other one and they cannot execute independently. Okay. Whereas non-correlated subquery, the inner query can execute independent of the outer query. So that's basically what you need to understand when it comes to subquery. So you have two main subqueries, correlated and non-correlated. So what is a subquery? Subquery is a query in the where clause. Subquery is a query in the where clause. Pretty much that's how you can summarize subquery. Okay. Here it says a subquery is a query nested inside the large query. Okay, that's another definition. Or you can say subquery is a query in the where clause. That's fine too. So you can apply subquery in a select clause, from clause, where clause. Subquery can be nested inside select, insert, update, and delete statements. Okay, insert, update, delete statement, or inside another subquery. So this is particularly important because you can nest subquery up to 32 deep level. Okay, that means you can have a subquery inside a subquery inside a subquery up to 32 deep level. After 32 levels, you get an error. Okay, so a subquery is usually added within the where clause of another select statement. You can use comparison operators. You can use comparison operators such as greater than, less than, or equal. Okay. The comparison operator can also be a multiple role operator such as in, any, all. This is what we use mostly. Okay. You don't use this often in SQL. So a subquery is also called an inner query or inner select. So these are some of the terminologies you need to get familiar with, okay? When you hear them, then you should know what they are. A subquery is also called an inner query or inner select, okay? So why this statement contain a subquery is also called an outer query or an outer select, okay? So here, the inner query executes first before its parent query so that the result of an inner query can be passed to the outer query. So the inner query has to execute, then pass the result to the outer query. You can also use subquery in a select, perform various tasks. So these are some of the basic definitions when you are dealing with subquery, things you need to familiarize yourself with, okay? Now there are tons of resources on the internet. You can do small Google search. You get tons of information if you want to learn more on this. And it's important that you do, okay? It's important that you expand your knowledge when it comes to subquery. Because the two most basic query you must write at work Okay, you must write at work is query that involve join, queries that involve join, no matter what kind of uh, report you are building or whatever you are developing. You run across queries that involve join, you run across queries that involve subqueries. So you need to understand how to write subqueries, what they are, and how to apply them. Very, very important. Okay. Very, very important that you understand what is going on here. You get the definitions, understand this definition, and be able to apply the definition. Here it says subquery select statement is almost similar to the select statement, and it is used to begin a regular or outer query. So this is what a syntax for a subquery looks like. Okay. A syntax of subquery, this is what it looks like. So here you have the select statement. Okay. You have the select statement. You can select from a table, you can select from a view. Okay. You can select from a view. And then you have a where clause. Okay. The search condition. You can also have group by expressions and all that, right? So this is, you select from this table where the search condition may be equal to this, or depending on the kind of subquery. Okay. So something like this is a good way to start. All right. So I want us to look at some example. So I have a table that I'm going to be using. I have a table in my learning SSIS, two tables. So we have product and product product database, product table and product cell. So first we need to examine the data in these tables, okay? So this product table, product cells, as you can see, contains product ID, unit price of each product, the quantity sold. So you have ID column, product ID. This is the ID for the table anyways, right? So if you look at this table, there is no product listed in it, okay? So here we have over here. Oh, I have the same table, so okay. So this is product. So we have a 52-inch black color LCD TV, laptop, very thin black color Acer laptop, desktop HP high performance desktop. Okay. So this is product table and this is product sales. So you can look at the two together. So here we have product ID. This is the product ID 3. So that should be desktop. Product ID 2 should be laptop. And here there is no product. We don't have any sales on TV, right? We don't have any sales on TV. So I want you to attempt to produce this query. You can use any method you want, everybody here. You have seen these tables, okay? Can you give me a query to retrieve products that are not at all sold? I want everybody to attempt to produce this query. I want you to write query to produce products that are not sold, that have not been sold. So I want everybody to attempt to produce this query result. Write the query for me. Once you have it, ping it to me. Private ping it to me. Don't ping it to everybody. So what I will do, I will send you the column header for the tables. Okay. So this is, I understand you don't have my table, correct? You can also create it by looking at what I have here, okay? You can also create this same table. So those are the column headers for product sales. All right, so I need, ping me what you have. All right, so I have one person here who came close to what we are asking, but again, I know you don't have a way of running this query, right? So, quick question, and I want somebody who can unmute yourself to answer me. How do you identify, looking at this table and the query before you, how will you identify a product that have not been sold? How will you identify that?
Product ID.
Say again?
Product ID.
Uh-huh. But how would you identify that a product have not been sold?
Because there are two tables. Product sales, one is the where those being sold, and all the inventory is the second table. So the one that is not in the sold but in the inventory, that is not being sold. So
Good.
here the product ID 1 is not sold. But I'm a little confused about, should this ID in the second table should be taken as product ID or not?
No, we are looking at, see, when you say product ID, that means this is the product table, right? So this number should correspond to this ID, correct?
I didn't put the product ID as ID. So
No, okay, so this product ID is equal to this ID here. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So again, here we have two tables. We have two tables that one is product sold. What this means is that when you sell a product, when you sell a product, that product will be inserted into this table, okay? Then the unit price and the quantity that was sold will be recorded in this table. So if a product ID, this one you are seeing here, does not exist in this table, that means it has not been sold. Okay, it means it's not been sold. So how do I find? Then I need to run a query. Run a query that will combine this and this, where the product ID in this table is not existing. Okay, it's not existing. So the first thing we need to do is to select from product. Okay, we select from here. You can do select star, it's fine. Or you can just simply select all the columns, right? Select name. So I have somebody. This is what this person have, which more like look like what we need. So if we select here, we have all this, okay? We have all this, but we need product that is not in the sales table. So not in is the correct thing. We have product ID, not in. So if you run this, there you go. So we have this problem right here, okay? We have this problem right here. You cannot, in as much as this is correct, you cannot use select star because what you are looking for is the product ID, not in here, okay? Not in here. Then if you run this, invalid column product ID, so it should be product. Where, hold on 1 second, this is where ID, so this should be ID. Where ID.
So then can
Okay.
we do a select distinct on
Oh, yeah,
there?
okay, yeah, you can do select distinct. You can do select distinct. Okay. You can do select distinct, that's fine too. There's no issues on that. So we are just looking for name. So you can add that column, right? If you want to. You can also do select star here. That's fine too. On this outer query, you can also do select star. So this is what we have. So what we are saying here, this is the subquery. Okay, this is the subquery. And the result that comes from here is passed. So it's passed to this ID here. And this query will be executed. Okay. And this query will be executed. So that's how you look at this. So you can say select this thing, excuse me, over here. There's no need to select distinct here because there is going to be one ID at any given time that is in this table. This table, we have product sales. You may have multiple cells relating to one product ID, but nonetheless, still going to be one product ID. Okay, so that is a good way to get started. So we are looking at product that are not sold. Now, can anybody give me a query, a different way of writing this same query? A different way of writing this same query. Any other person other than using this subquery? What other way you can produce that you can use to produce this query?
I use is null in the subquery.
No, I'm not talking about subquery now. What other way you can you use to produce this?
We can
Join.
use join here.
Okay, all right. You can use join, but what kind of join can you use to produce the result you're looking for?
Inner join.
Inner join will not give you that.
Okay, left join. Left join.
Good. So
Left join
left.
having table products.
Good. So which product will be the left table?
Table products. Inventory one will be the left, and other one will be the right.
I don't have any inventory product. I have product sales and
no, I mean
product.
Table products is inventory kind of thing.
Okay. So we are selecting from product, right? We select from product, then we do left join, or you can do left outer join, right? It doesn't matter. So left join here. So this, let's just call this TP. Let's call this PS. Okay. But it doesn't matter. We can I can say so select ID, description. So all of this comes from, so we TP dot TP dot. So we need to join on, so we have TP dot ID is equal to PS dot pro dot ID. Now, if you run this query, right, this is what you will get. You get everything, right? So we got this. But we need to apply a where condition. A where condition where product ID, which is this one, PS, it's null, okay? So let's see what we get here. So we get the same thing we have with our subquery. So this subquery here is equivalent to this. That's what we are saying, okay? So you can use this to produce the same result as this, okay? To produce the same result. So this is a subquery, and this is a left join. Again, we're trying to see products that have not been sold, okay? Product that have not been sold. It means that product does not exist in this way. So you got to think logically, okay? When you write query. So you need to first think of what you're trying to produce. Where will the data be coming from, or where are the expected places for the data, right? And what kind of result am I expecting? So with that in mind, then you can start thinking about the kind of logic to produce the result you want. Because there's the only way you to think logically, right? To be able to write query. First, you need to know what kind of result are you expecting? What kind of result are you expecting? Where are the sources of your data, right? Are they in the same table? Are they different tables? Okay. So once you're able to understand all of these, then you got to think, okay, are there relationships that exist if there are different tables? So once you're able to gather all this information, you can start sampling data, then you can start building the logic, but you have to know what the final outcome should look like before you even get started. All right. Otherwise, you just be writing query without knowing what you are looking for, right? So as a developer, when it comes to building queries, you have to know, or somebody would have given you sample result, you know, hey, we want you to produce this kind of thing for us. So that's how you can think logically and start building result. All right, so any question on this? Everybody good? You guys still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. All right, this is the next one. So write a query to retrieve name, total quantity sold using a subquery. Okay? Using a subquery. So these are all examples of non-correlated queries, right? That's what we're looking at. So I want you to also, the same manner, the same way. So previous example, so many of you, the result you gave to me wasn't what I expected, but now that you have idea, I want you to produce a much better result. So I need you to crack this, okay? Give it a shot. Send it to me. Write a query to retrieve the name
Can you please,
and quantity sold. Want me to
Joseph,
ping this?
no, I want you to run the select queries again so that we can see the columns.
Oh, okay, sure.
Thank you.
Right here. Rachida, what exactly do you mean? I'm not sure.
I think she was asking the same
Yeah,
thing.
same what Rajni said. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Can you go down, please? I haven't seen the question again. Can you please saw the yeah, the total quantity.
Okay, so I have some select statements here. And at least some of you can identify your query, all right? So now look at this, run this. Invalid column called name. Well, can anybody tell me what is wrong with this query? Anybody?
Because we are selecting from table product sales and the name word is not there. Name
No.
column is not.
No.
Probably aggregate functions. We need to use order by or group by.
There you go. So that is one problem right there. And that is the same problem here, right? Same thing. See here, ambiguous column. First of all, you have ambiguous column. What does that mean? You mean you have this column in two different places. So here should have been TP ID in whatever you have, right? However, once you have, again, this is the rule of SQL. You can't change that rule and you can make it up, right? Because that's one problem I see here. And this person didn't even bother to do what we ask, which is find the sum. Never bothered. But look at these two queries. There is a problem here. There is a problem here. And the rule of aggregation is if you're aggregating anything, okay, if you are aggregating anything, whatever that is not aggregated must be grouped, okay? Whatever that is not aggregated. So name is not aggregated here. Then you must group it, okay? Whatever that is not aggregated must come in the group by. So that is one thing, okay? That is one thing you need to pay attention to, okay? Whatever that is not aggregated must come in the group by. So let's look at this again. Here we have quantity sold, okay? But again, you have name here, right? So if you run this, it's telling you, first of all, there is no column called name in this table, correct? So I cannot be selecting name from this table where there is no column called name, right? So where will my select coming from? Name is only in this table. And here there is no column called quantity sold in product table. So again, go back, look at this. You have quantity sold here in this product sales table. You have product in this product name in this product sales table. Okay. So does that help you again to rearrange what you have here and to rearrange what you have here? Yeah.
Can you see my query, the last query in the chat?
Let me see. Where is the chart?
Oh, it's not the last actually.
Um,
The second from the last.
this one.
No. Select name where product ID in select product ID quantity sold from product sale.
Let's see. This.
That's not.
What's your name?
BB.
Okay. So it should be this one then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, let's run this. Invalid name called product. Yeah. So we don't have it. Well, again, that is not again what is the table? Table is TBLS, right? TBLS, sorry, TBS, TBL. So this is TBL. Okay, we can live with that. But again, object name.
It's products S. Table
Oh,
products.
products. Okay. All right, only one expression can be specified in the select list when the subquery is not introduced with exist. What here it's saying, you cannot have multiple select statement in this manner. You can only select one item, one column here, okay? All right, you guys, everybody, let's see this. Okay, incorrect syntax near the word. So what is this?
So can you join, what? Can you join the
So,
tables to get the quantity sold?
but you said here, select pro x.pro.id. What is that? Where is it selecting it from?
From the sales table.
So why didn't you mention that there?
So then can you go down to where you,
Okay, I'm trying to understand what you say. Where PID is in. There is no such thing.
yeah, remove that is in and remove the select statement.
Mhm.
Let's do a left join on the
All right. Okay,
TV.
okay, that's fine. Let's look at the query. Okay. All right, everybody, you guys did well, but I want you guys to do better. Okay. I want you guys. This is the first one we did.
Rosie, I have a question.
Yes. Uh-huh.
With we want name and everything. So if we just do the join and then the group by, we can get the result. Isn't it possible? Like I'm not sure like where I will put the subquery because with
Okay,
enough
what exactly are you looking for? You have only one thing, name and
yes, name
quantity
and total
sold.
quantity, we can just use the inner join and then use the group by clause with the
Can you then give me the query you were looking right in?
okay. No, I cannot use the subquery. That's what I'm telling you. Subquery is not fitting in whatever I'm writing.
Yeah, the
Well,
question is using subquery, but
sorry again.
the question is where you need to provide the answer with the subquery.
All right. So where you need to provide the answer with the subquery.
We tried. We're gonna.
Rosie, can you run the one underneath that?
Which one? This one?
No, not that one. Go down. Can you scroll down? That one. Oh,
This
yeah, that
one?
one. Yeah.
Produce nothing.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So let's try and fix all of this. Let's try and fix all of this, okay? So again, we need to find the sum. Okay, so what are they asking? They want the name of product and total quantity sold. Name of product and total quantity sold. So we need to start by select a name, right? We need a name. Then comma. So we need to find in here, because that's what we need. We need to select sum of quantity sold. We need to select sum of quantity sold coming from this table. This is where we get sum of quantity sold, correct? Yep. So we need that coming from this table. Now, if you run this by yourself, right, you get the total, everything, okay? But we want to add a condition. We want to add a condition. So where our product ID, the product ID, from this table will be equal to the product ID, TBLS, which is this table, dot ID, right? Dot ID. We can call this as total This is getting. Let me break this. As total quantity sold, or as total quantity. So we call this as total quantity. Then, sorry, from our main table, which is product table. Where is that? TBL product. From our product table. So let's see. So here we see the result. We've not sold any TV. We've sold 7 laptops. We've sold 18 desktop. Okay. We've not sold any TV, which we've determined that earlier, right? Product have not been sold. So TV is not sold yet. We have sold 17 laptop, 18 desktop. So you can use order by also, order by name. It doesn't matter anyways. Okay. So what are we doing here? We have a subquery. So this subquery act as a single column. Okay. This subquery, all of this, see, they're inside the parentheses. So you can use a subquery in a select statement. That's what we are doing here. This is as a single column, okay? And it's called total quantity. So we find the sum of quantity sold, okay? The sum of quantity sold. We're selecting a single. See, there is no group by here, right? Why? Because we only have one column we are selecting, so there is no need for group by. Okay. Now, this is another way of writing your query if you want to avoid group by. Okay. If you want to avoid group by, then you can apply this kind of logic. Okay. Because you might have some queries that are having performance issue as a result of group by. Then you can avoid the group by applying this kind of subquery. Okay, so what we are saying, we are selecting this from we are selecting quantity sold from our product table, but we want where the product ID in our table is equal to the product ID from our inner table, outer table rather. Okay, so with that, we get our result called total quantity. And now we can now say this is what we have in our table as our result, right? So I'm sure if you go back in this table, right, you can count for each of these product, the quantity sold, right? We can do that. So let's see. We want to select count. We want ID, comma, count star, right? group by ID. What else? Oh, sorry. Wrong one. So should be this. Okay. We have 5. Where is 195? We don't have any. Done.
I think you should use
Should be
product.
group by product ID. Yeah, product ID. Yeah. Thank you for that. Not by ID. Yep. So it tallies with our result here. Yeah. So that's what is expected. So we have product 2, which is our desktop, that is 17, and this, right? So again, sometimes some things like this, you get to know it. The more you do it, the more you get to understand it. You got to practice it. You got to practice. Yes.
Rosie, I have one question. So the same query can be performed with inner join and group by with where, like with product ID and ID as a on this, like instead of subquery. So which will be the better way of doing it?
Yeah, it depends, because sometimes you might have, again, it depends on, there are a lot of things you can look at, right? Performance issues, but you have to, depending on what you are trying to achieve. So it might be a situation where using subquery will be much better than just using join, right? Or you might be in a different situation where using join will be much better. So you gotta do like some kind of performance tuning, using is it tuning advisor to see, right, which one runs better, which one. But again, in this kind of thing, either way is fine, because we're not really pulling large volume of data. Okay, so it doesn't matter what we use in this case. So let's try using this same query, right? So we can rewrite this same query using join. So we are looking for so we are selecting name, sum of quantity sold, and sum of quantity sold. What did we call it? We call it total quantity. Okay, let's call it as total quantity. Then we are selecting from now. Why are we not using inner join? Why are we not using inner join? Will inner join give you accurate result?
Yes. Inner
No.
join just give us the product which are being sold, so we can use the left join.
No, but you also want to know products that have not been sold as well, right?
Yes, so left join.
So it's got to be left join, because again, when you're delivering sales report, you're not only, unless they strictly ask you, I want to see only the product that have been sold, only, right? But otherwise, you should be able to produce both products that have been sold and the one that have not been sold, because they want to see the entire result, right? That way they can make determination as to whether what they are seeing, they like it or not, right? So we say left join instead of right outer join. So this is TP ID is equal to PS ID, right? Product ID. So here, this is not needed, correct? It's not
Group by
needed.
here, group by name.
So we need what? Group
Group
by,
by name.
right? So again, you need to know when to apply group by, correct? So then you can say order in that way. What do we have here? Same result, right? So this week they gave us the same result as what we have here. Okay. All right. Any questions on this?
So why do we need the group by and order by same thing, name?
Let me ask you a question then. When you write a query, why do you normally put group by? What is the reason for putting a group by?
So group by what I need to be grouped. So if it's the
That
same
no,
thing,
that's not what I'm asking you. Why do you need a group by in any query?
so you have a lot of things, I need that to be grouped.
No, that is not the reason.
If we use aggregate function, we have to group it, right?
Yes. You should have waited for her to think and answer me. But thank you, though. Yes. Whenever, by the way, who was that? I'm not seeing anybody's face. I don't know who asked the question. But whenever you have these functions, you have count, you have AVG, right? Average, you have sum, you have max, you have mean. That's minimum. Aggregate functions, okay? There might be more, right? So whenever you have any of these functions, okay, the rule to use these functions is this. If I, for example, let's go back to this table. Without this. And okay, so I have here count, AVG, you have max, you have mean. I can run any of this. PS, what is that space? Oh. Select from product. So if you look at this query, right? You can run this all day without any issues, right? They give you the result. So this is the minimum here is 4. What is the maximum quantity sold? 9. I know. What is the count of products? You get 4. What is the sum? And all of that. So you can run all of this. Okay? You can run all of this all day long. So these are called aggregate function. You're performing mathematical function on this. But the rule of the game changes when I bring another column here. Okay? If I bring another column here, now look at this. I can't. Why? Because there is a rule that I need to apply. I can't change that. I have to apply that rule. What is the rule? Well, the rule for aggregate says whatever that I'm not aggregating must be grouped. I am not aggregating them. I'm only aggregating quantity sold. Therefore, I have to say group by name. So I have to say group by. That's how. Now, if I run this, it will allow me to run it. What did I miss? So this is PS. Oh, I don't have name in this column. Yeah, so, okay, what do I have? I have product ID. Okay, I can use product ID. Right? So it's saying whatever that is not, whatever that I'm not aggregating. I am not aggregating product ID. I'm only aggregating quantity sold. Then the rule says I have to group it. Does that make sense why we're using group by?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it's something you have to remember, memorize it and remember it, that this is the rule. So any query where you see this, okay? Whatever query you are writing, and they say, I need the count of this, I need the count of, cells, I need the count of, I need the average, I need the maximum number of people, right? Then I also want to add a name. Then you just have to think of group by. If they just say, give me maximum count, then you don't have to worry about group by because there's no need for that. But as long as you are bringing in another column here, then you must apply a group by. So let's see, assuming we have another column. So here we have unit price, right? So we bring unit price again. So if I bring here unit price, yeah, then, oh, sure, not the right place. So if I add another column unit price here, okay? Again, look at what will happen. I have problem because it's a unit price is invalid in the select because it's not contain neither an aggregate, right? So I also have to bring it in the group by, okay? I have to bring it in the group by. There you go. So now I have unit price. So in essence, however many columns you are bringing in the select statement, they must all appear in the group by.
Dozy,
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I think her question was why using a group by and then order by the same column if we can just use group by for the result. I think that was her question.
Okay, let me ask you, what is the difference between group by and order by?
Yeah, I think we use group by for the column that's not aggregated, and we and order by the same group. I mean the same column, but I mean I think her question was why not just using group by itself to get a result. I think that's what.
That's why I ask you, I need your help, right? Was order by super necessary in that query?
No.
No. But we just added it because we want to order the name, right? The
Right.
way we want it to appear.
Right.
What is the most important thing that is needed in that query?
Yes, the name.
Group by.
Group by is the only thing that is important that we need. Without it, we can't run the query. Order by is not necessary, but the reason why I brought in order by, it's talking about here, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We brought in order by because we just want to arrange in order. That's what order by does, nothing else.
Right.
So look at this. You can run this, right?
Yeah.
Then if you do order by, same thing. Desktop. Look at this. See how this is?
Yeah.
We apply order by. We want to order by name, not by quantity. We order by name. Now we have desktop. A, B, C, D, right? This is what? Descending order, correct?
Yes.
Good. So whenever you write order by without expressly mention descending, it is actually ascending order, right? So order that descending. So this is, you can do DE, DESC, right? So you are saying where we want it in descending order, right? So that means it goes from the highest to the lowest, correct? But if you don't mention this, then it's going to be from the highest, from the, this is the lowest, right? Then it's going to start as descending. I mean ascending. You understand what is going on? Well, this is very basic, right? So order by was not necessary, but we just wanted to arrange, because sometimes you want to see the topmost result first, correct? That's why you need order by or group by. Group by, because we are applying aggregate function.
Darcy, I have a question about the subquery with sum. So you used where and you're actually joining these two tables without joining them. Can you explain about the where clause?
Okay. So again, you're right. You are joining the two tables without joining them. This is the table, right? So this is what is called, see, again, we are coming there. This is what is called correlated subquery, okay? It's it's called correlated subquery. In other words, without this inner query, right? This inner query cannot run by itself. Look at this. Give you error because it's dependent on the outer query to produce its result, right?
Can I ask you, Rosie, on that same line? So if I use table products alias, can that alias will be working in the where clause also or not?
So let's see. We can try that, right? So we call this
PP,
TP.
PP, yeah.
So we call this PT, right?
Okay.
Okay. So this is what is called correlated subquery. The two query are interrelated. Without one cannot run without the other. Okay. Well, this one here, because the outer query can run if I comment all of this out, right? The outer query will still run because we are selecting name from this product and there is name in that table, correct? But the inner query cannot run without the outer query. So the result, we have to join to find where the both table matches and then select the result. Okay, so that is what correlated query is all about. The outer query is independent of the inner query, but the inner query is not independent of the outer query. All right.
Okay, thank you. So the
Okay.
concept is like joining the tables without using join.
Exactly. Yeah, something like that. Exactly.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Yeah, it's just like a random question. Hypothetically, if we want to use some another table, third table, so so if like third table has let's say some other value, maybe product color and all the description of the product, and I want to get that value from the third table, but the results are not from let's say the product color is not black or white or something. In the third table, product description is there. So if I want to use that, if I want to use that table, so what should I be doing? Like in the subquery, I will be using the join, or can I use the where similarly?
You
Because
can
that
use,
table will not be outside.
yeah, so in this, you can use join here, right?
Yeah.
So you can use join in the subquery. It depends on, again, without fully seeing or understanding what you need to do. But you can
Let
use
me
join
explain.
in a subquery. You can join two tables in a subquery and get
Let
a
me
result.
explain. Let me explain. So let's say the third table I have that has TV models and laptop models and desktop models. So I want to let's say like I just want the Sony one or the LG ones, and I just want them from this query and quantity sold, but I do not want the model name and everything. I just want the name, what is, and that it should not be like under sorry, it should not be LG or Sony or whatever, not or in that does not matter. So in that case, can I use the similarly, like as Malika asked, that it has a you join the table without really using the join here, right? In the
Well,
subquery.
yeah, again, you cannot say without reason. We actually, this is what, okay, we are not expressly mentioning join, but
Yeah.
so in this case, again, it depends on which one is the main table, which one are you want to consider the outer table that you need to select a single column from, right? Then, so the question will become, the single value you are selecting, is it going to be from which table, right? And where are you passing that? So if that's the case, for example, if you want to select black colors only from that table, then in the where clause here, instead of this, so you have to rewrite this query so that this inner query, right? This or whole of this will be equating to some other query, right? Will be equating to some other query. So again, these are some of the things that comes, the more you practice them, the more you understand how to apply such logic, okay? But remember we said that subquery can be nested 32 deep level. That means you can have subquery inside the subquery inside the subquery, right?
Yes.
Until all the way to 32 levels. So you can have here, for example, you have the select statement here. Then I can also have where product ID is equal to max, right? So I can say max product ID, right? Max product ID or select max product ID from product table, something like that. So that way you're able to keep going until you get to the result you want. So, but again, if it's like you want the column to appear here the same way name appeared here, then you have to treat it in the same way as this one, right? You have to treat it in the same way as this one, because you got to look at this as a single column, correct? Quantity. Yeah.
This is one.
Then that color, you also have to treat it. Then you have to have comma here, do another select in this manner. Because if they are related to this table, you got to somehow join it to this table, right? So that's how you go about it. Okay. So this is example of correlated query. Okay. That's what correlated query is all about. I think, let me see.
So Dosi, what are some of the performance issues that you've seen when using subqueries and joins?
So again, usually performance in terms of when you join two tables, what are the columns that you are joining on, right? What are the columns? Because that can be a big problem. Is it indexed column or not, right? So all of those things are there. You know, what kind of index is on the column? Is it clustered or non-clustered index? So those are the things that can be a huge issue especially when you are joining two tables, and also you are performing aggregation. So that can slow things down a little bit. So, but some of these things, there is no like super hard and fast way of doing things. Sometimes you just have to try things out, right? See what works best. Because sometimes you may have an environment that will handle, depending on how the DB have optimized your server, right? So that can also go a long way on what kind of query type you are running and the impact and the performance of your query. And again, where is in use, store procedure, or views, functions, and things like that. All of those things, they all come into play. So yeah, you can have queries that run fine today. Tomorrow you come in, it's taking like forever to run. sometimes it does happen. There are a lot of other factors, right? That is not just the query. Network related performance issues, right, can also come into question. So a whole lot of things, but you can use query analyzer. Query analyzer to look at, what you are running, just to be sure that you're on the right track. Right?
Mhm.
Any questions? All right, so this is what we have tonight, because I don't want to keep you long here rambling. Okay, I've already showed you example of correlated, which is what we have here. I have this query earlier, something I've give to you. So again, there are two types of subquery. You have non-correlated, then you have correlated subquery. Correlated subquery means the outer, the inner query is dependent on the outer query. It's dependent on the outer query. All right, so that is the difference between correlated query and non-correlated subquery. Okay. Questions? Questions? Everybody good?
Thank you, Dozy.
Yes.
Welcome. Let me see. What else can I give you tonight? Nothing else, right?
It was something that is used a lot in the real world.
Something that you use a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is used a lot, subquery, and yeah, it's used a lot. So you got to learn how to write subqueries because it's used a lot in the real world, like you said. That's what you're asking, right?
Yeah. So
Yep.
the joins, the subqueries, and what else? Is there another way of doing this? Things like this?
What do you mean another way?
Like, is there another way of writing this?
No, like subquery, right? Again, don't think about complexity. Okay, just understand what it's about. I think that's the key thing, because you understand what it's about, then it will take away the issue of complexity out of it. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
Because if I ask you what is subquery now, what will you tell me? What is subquery? Huh?
The query inside the it's a query inside a query.
Good. So you just need to think about a query inside a query, right? So which query is in which query? Look at here. See what I highlighted? Which query is in which query? Based on your definition. Which one is the larger query? Which one is the inner query?
The inner one is the select product from. That's the inner one. That's a sub query.
Select product from where? Where did you see that?
From the
No, read what is here. Just read. Look at this. Tell me what you're seeing.
So the larger one is the select from the products where ID not in. What's that?
Okay. Okay, so this is what?
The larger one, I think.
Okay, the outer query.
Yes.
That's, you have to identify, be able to identify it. This is the outer query. And this is called the inner query. What are other ways to identify inner query?
Parentheses.
Parentheses, good.
Yeah.
They're always in a parenthesis. You got to think of that, remember that. The outer query is always in parentheses, okay? Because that's one of the ways to identify which one is inner query, which one is outer query. Does it make sense?
Yes.
All right. Any other question? Again, you know, the more you practice these things, right? The more you practice this, the more you understand it better. Okay, for those of you that would like to practice what you've done tonight, this is what I'm going to do. I will script this table. So I am giving you these tables. You can make up your own data, doesn't matter, okay? You can, I might as well give it to you. So that is data. So you can just create your own and practice what we've done tonight.
Does so the subquery always return only one column, or it can return multiple columns?
Most time is one column, but it can also return multiple columns, depends on what it's doing.
And earlier it gave us error, right, when we try to
Yes, because based on the query, you can only pass one value at a time. All right, so you can use this, create your own data set, and run it, and see what will happen, okay? Everybody good?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think that'll be it for tonight.